One common object in still life is a bottle. This week, we'll make a bottle in a bowl and really emphasize the light on it. Up to now, we've been using a white background, and that sometimes has problems letting light shine in the scene. Now, in the last video, I used shading the background sometimes to get it so that you could take care of that problem. Another option is to shade the entire background first, and that's known as toning the paper. And then you can use your eraser mark showing up as light even brighter and just as another color. So we're going to do that right now. And I've got a new canvas up, and standard setup we usually have here. So we're going to have, vine charcoal in all of our brushes. So for both the brush, the blender, and the eraser. And I'm going to use a dark color here. So you can pick whatever dark color you want. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom out because I'm going to be able to go off the paper here because I'm going to get even edges on this. And then I'm going to bring up my brush size all the way up to 100%. I'm also going to bring down my opacity to some smaller number. Okay, let's say 31%. Okay. And then I'm going to do is just brush over my canvas like that. Now you could leave it like this, and some people will tone their paper like this. Get a nice texture if you want to start working from this. I tend to go one more step, and I go into my blender, set that to 100% on both opacity and size, and then wipe over top of that. And that gives you a evenly toned paper so you have no texture, and it works well that way. And you can put more color in here as well, and we'll do that in other exercises so that you can have some interesting toning effects going on here. But that's just what we need, is this basic toned paper here. Now I'm going to go zoom in a bit more so we can start working on our bottle here. Okay. So now we have our toned paper. I'm going to go ahead and pull up my brush, and I'm going to bring it all the way down to about 2% or so. And I'm going to just make my cylinder. And I'm going to make a long spine on that cylinder to keep myself under control here. And I'm going to make another piece right here and connect up those two ovals to make my first cylinder. Now I'm going to make a second cylinder in here as well. And the second cylinder is probably going to be pretty flat on the top given the way we've set this up. So we're going to have something that looks like this. But wait, that's not all, because I'm going to put a sphere in the middle here. So this is going to be my bottle shape, and I'll bring up my opacity a little bit. I'm going to draw out the shape here now. I now have a shape that's made of two cylinders and a sphere, and I can actually use some arcs here to make this bottle a little bit more curvy over there. And that's my bottle, okay? And again, I could pick where I'm going to put my light. I tend to like light on the left, so just to make things difficult for me, I'm going to put it on the right from the top over here like we did with the pear. And we'll go to the eraser. We'll pull it up to about maybe 5%, and we can start putting some light on this thing. And so I'm going to put some light on this part right here, and I can actually start tracing right over that line because I don't need it. It works really well just to do it right like that. Okay, and that's my light. I can bring down the opacity a little bit and draw just like I was drawing before with the brush. And just stroke some things in here. I can make it a little bigger. Okay, and there we go. That's getting in there with that light. I can do the same thing on the other side with the dark. And I'm going to start pretty dark here. Bring this up. like so, and maybe put a little bit of mid-tone in here. Now, I already have some mid-tone in here because this is going to blend against what I put on my toning. So I've got several colors already here. I've got the mid-tone, I've got the toned paper color, I've got my light colors, and I've got my shadow colors here. So this is all I really need to start blending. So I'm going to bring down my brush for my blender size and start to get the blends going here. And you'll see that it starts to come together. Maybe a little bigger. At first, my lines all disappear inside, and we're starting to get a good, decent bottle here. Okay. You may find that for bottles in particular, you'll notice that the bottom here is darker, particularly on transparent or translucent bottles. You'll find that that will be a darker amount. I'm going to need to bring down my size as I start dealing with details at the top here, like that. And we've already started to create quite a nice little looking bottle here. I'm going to push this out a bit because it's not all the way there. And just like the pear we did, it's starting to come together pretty nicely. So you can start to see that this is a nice bottle. I can put more color in there and blend that color in where I need to. And I'm going to do a little bit more at a low opacity over here to tone that up a bit. And get a mid-tone color with it. Okay, and you got that streak in there, so I'm going to go back on top of that streak there. See if I can clean that out. And then I can start brushing this way a little bit, like this, to bring that down color. And you can start to see we're really getting something nice here. If I wanted to get this maybe a little darker, I can again come back to the brush, bring it down to, maybe 18%, not a lot, and just brush it in a little bit. Now, again, we've got to remember something here. This is still a sphere and two cylinders. So we're going to see some things happening with the sphere here that we usually see. This is going to have some roundness to it, and that interface between the sphere and the cylinders is going to leave a little bit of a line. So you'll see some shadow there that you wouldn't see otherwise. Something like that maybe. Okay, and we still got to put in the bottom here. So I'm going to bring up the opacity. We're going to have something that looks like a shadow. Now it's going to be thinner at the top because it's a bottle. So I want to have more shadow down here and less shadow back over here. So I may actually blend that back out. And here's something to notice here. I'm using the blender. I'm not using the eraser to do this. I'm going against the color of the blend to do my shadow here. And I may, again, try to do a little bit more definition in here. So I'm going to pop a little bit more color in there. Okay. And we may do the same thing down here. I'm going to bring down the brush size a bit. And there you go. And you can see we've got ourselves a pretty nice bottle. I may work a little bit more on the top here. I don't know what happens with this top, but there may be some light in here. So I'm just going to break down this a little, get a little bit of a reflection on the top there because that's a hollow thing. And you can see we can get it. Now, it isn't perfect. I mean, I've got a little bit of problems over here, which I would probably correct if I kept going. And that's what you're going to do is you're going to start looking at this. This is where critique starts coming in and says, okay, you sort of missed this little symmetrical bit over here, and start playing with those kinds of things so that it looks a little better. And so you can start seeing what's going on though. So we're getting a pretty nice looking bottle. You can also do things like what we had earlier and make this a little darker right over here if you want to really bring out that shadow. And bring out that light on the bottle. So you can do things like this to start bringing it out a bit more. So go ahead and make a bottle like that, or make a couple of other bottles. See what else you can make up. Take the shapes we have, like I did in the last lesson and in this lesson, and make a bunch of different objects just like this. Take a side for a light and put it in here. Keep going with it. I mean, you could go for hours on one single bottle if you keep working on the details. So you take as much time as you want. It's not a rush project that you have to get it done in 5 minutes. Have fun with it. Once you figure out a nice bottle here, send it to me at Steve_Lipton to cheer you on and tell you that you're doing a great job. So go ahead and make some beautiful bottles, and I will see you next time as we do more cool art.